constantly innovate. And if you're not constantly innovate,
Good morning. It's Monday, June 11th, 9 a.m. This is the Muscatine County Board of Supervisors. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First is to review the agenda.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Matt. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next is receive comments from the public. Does anyone like to step forward and address the board? Seeing no one come forward, we'll move on with number 4, items with County Engineer Keith White. Morning, Keith.
Good morning.
First up is discussion and possible action for bid letting for a bridge replacement on Iron City Avenue south of 170th Street, project number CUL187370.
Okay, looks like we have 5 bids here. 4 or 5. I will open them in the order received, and we'll just read totals. Reminder that unit prices govern, but we'll just read totals. First one is from Peterson Contractors, Inc. of Rhinebeck, Iowa. We have an Iowa DOT bid bond. We have a total of $291,109.10. 291,109.10. Next is Brandt Construction Company of Milan, Illinois. And we have an Iowa DOT bid bond. We have a total of $331,414.70. 331,414.70. Next is Iowa Bridge and Culvert out of Washington, Iowa. We have an Iowa DOT bid bond. We have a total of $255,685. 255,685.00. Next, we have Haggerty Earthworks of Muscatine, Iowa. And we have American Institute of Architects bid bond. We have a total of $483,857.10. 483,857.10. And last, we have Boomerang Corp. Of Anamosa, Iowa. Have an Iowa DOT bid bond. We have a total of $268,176.60. 268,176.60.
So Keith, on the, I noticed on your workup for our projected programs and stuff that this was for fiscal year 2019. So you're thinking maybe it might actually start this fall? Or when are you thinking they might start?
Well, the contractor's going to answer that. The successful bidder, if we enter into a contract with them, they're going to really answer that question. We have a late start date of 10 September, so we expect it to start this fall.
Cool. And you're gonna review all those numbers as usual and then
Yeah,
get back to us?
The numbers, we'll check if we happen to get them checked prior to the end of this board meeting. We'll let you know, otherwise we'll come back at a subsequent meeting. A reminder that unit prices guarantee or govern, so we have to check the math to make sure there's not a glaring error.
Well, I look at Haggerty, local contractors are so high compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering why that would be, if there was an error in the math or something.
I don't think there's an error, and you know, it's a site in a swamp that I think they're concerned with what weather conditions they might encounter.
Yeah, I noticed on the map it's in the northern part there, closer to Atlissa probably.
Yeah, it's down there in Iron City, right on that conservation ground, and it's sitting in water all the time.
Sure.
So I believe that was their concern with the site.
Okay, very good. Next is discussion and possible action to set a letting date for project LFM 76-4 7X-70 longitudinal subdrains on 231st Street, G28 for 9 a.m. on July 9th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Bob, second by Jeff, all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Next is discussion and possible action to authorize various equipment purchases.
Yes. I'll run through these in no particular order. Check my phone and see if I in fact have another number. Seeing none. One of the things we were looking at was a tandem belly dump trailer, which our second, we do have a second number, but our third number, the second number wasn't really at all comparable, and it was extremely higher. And our other one, they promised it by this morning, but we didn't get yet. So I would like to just stand on that one for a week. I think the quote we have in hands will be the low, but we need to see that other number to, the other piece of equipment would be acceptable if it were happened to be lower. The second item I have is it'd be best to just show you a picture here. The name of this piece of equipment is a road widener. It mounts on.
I'm seeing them.
It mounts on something else. There they show it mounted on a skid loader. We would prefer to mount it on a loader, which would be our plan. For a couple reasons. Some of the folks that own this, City of Cedar Rapids, Scott County does do it on a skid loader, a track loader like we have. They do, and as our snow fighting fleet changes here and we're having vehicles without cross conveyors, we need something else to deal with edging. So this is a piece of equipment. It runs off of the hydraulics of the piece of equipment it's mounted on. Scott does say they have trouble pushing their tandems with the compact loader. And we had never had intentions to put it on that. I know on my old county, Sac County, they have a piece of equipment similar to this, which they have on a loader. So that particular piece of equipment is $42,305. That's with the attachment. There is a similar one. They just call it a widener attachment. You can see it attached to motor graders and etc. That one has an engine mounted on that. And it's $71,065, which is not necessarily what we're looking to do, but this is something that we probably been in need of for some time. We're down to only one truck with a cross conveyor. Cross conveyors are almost 20 grand to throw. They raise the center of gravity of the truck, and they are a maintenance item. So we have gone away from those for some time, as have a lot of folks. So we would ask you to consider authorizing the purchase of this road widener unit.
So exactly what does it do? Have we ever had experience with anything like this before?
I'm going to say we have not. We've had, in recent years, the plow trucks have some of them, now we're only down to one because of their age, have a conveyor that sets crossways behind the cab that you could convey out either end to dump some rock along the edge. That's been sort of our method of choice for doing edge ruts. Another method of choice, not that we would go totally away from this, has been to hire a contractor with a shouldering machine. Generally, we're looking at how far out of shape and how far gone is a shoulder. If we need to build shoulders, we'll hire a contractor with a shouldering machine. But if we're just fixing that drop off at the edge of the pavement, then something like this. There were and are some old conveyors hanging on the wall out there that we've never successfully made work. I think even during Matt's time, that was maybe tried to get those going.
So this piece of equipment should conceivably make it more effective, the work?
Yes.
More effective, efficient, cost-effective, and so
Yes.
forth?
Does it eliminate a step? Because I know, like, with the RDSs, with the side discharge, it would pile the rock, and then you'd have to come back and lay
Yes,
it out.
it should lay it out. It should be a lot more efficient.
Now, you probably watched, I suppose, the counties near us that have
Yeah.
this equipment, and apparently you see a good need for it, it'll good fit.
It's just time. The item that I have after this to talk to you about, it's time to implement some of these things.
And we only need maybe one
One.
to start, or
No,
that's
you
all we'll
only
ever
need one. Only need one.
Okay, okay.
And it'll dress these shoulders, and then you'll come behind this and compact that shoulder. Is that what I've?
Yeah. I don't know if we got I don't have the picture of a train here, but that's what it does. It's replacing the material out there. And you know, the options beyond this is a self-propelled machine. And you know, this other one shows you better, you know, where they've got it mounted on, one they got it mounted on a motor rear, one they got it mounted on the front of a paving machine. But basically, whatever piece of equipment you're mounted on is pushing the trucks back up and dump into this hopper, and they push it. So that one shows you a little bit better.
It does show better, and you can even, it appears you can even widen existing shoulders as well as repair steps.
You can, but it really isn't
Designed for that.
designed to be a shouldering machine.
Yeah.
Even though they call it.
Yeah.
You know, bear in mind, a lot of counties have much lower traffic counts, and they maybe don't even have rock shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
You still end up edge rutting in those counties, but you're only doing a foot or two.
So based on our
This
current
goes up-
needs and how we're doing it now, would this give us a cost savings?
I think so. We're not real efficient with how we do it, and
And the quality should conceivably be better.
quality should be
Right.
better. So that was that for consideration.
Was the differential between the first two, the 42 and the 71, was that because the number two was self-propelled, was it?
It's
Or-
not self-propelled, but the conveyor is driven by an engine. The other uses the hydraulics off of
I
the
recall
machine.
that, yeah. So do you have a
That's
preference
the
there?
main. Yeah, I don't think we want to go to a separate engine. All of our loaders have high flow hydraulics on them that will operate this with ease.
Okay, so are you looking for a motion for approval on that, or?
I am.
Okay, I'll move we approve that.
I'll second.
Yeah, any specific one on that?
Well, you're requesting the
The lower one.
42,305,
Yes.
right?
Okay,
Who's that from?
For 42,305.
That is from Star Equipment in Cedar Rapids.
Okay.
1R, STAR, Star Equipment.
Well, I've
The
got a
other one
motion.
was from Midland.
is there,
I've
okay,
got a
was there a
motion.
brand on that? What was the brand on that?
Their brand is Road Widener, all one word.
Okay.
Okay. I've got a motion by Jeff, a second by Matt. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Project update, Steve.
Well, I have one more on that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Haven't spent enough money yet.
I'm getting ahead of the game.
I
here a little bit.
have, well, one of the things we're trying to do here is, and not even doing good enough yet, but it said the build dates on things are going insanely out into the future. So if we don't get out ahead of some things, you know, we're not getting them when we want. Matter of fact, I'll leap over one thing. One of the things we're demoing right now, today, really to just get started today, but this week, is a Cat 308 excavator, which is smaller than our other excavator. But we're looking at replacing the tractor loader backhoe with that. We want, it has its pluses and its minuses. We feel it, dollars are the same. We feel that it would be more versatile. The only negative on it is mobility versus a tractor loader backhoe. But we asked that tractor loader backhoe to do a lot of things that are kind of out of its efficiency range. So you're very similar in size and strength to that tractor loader backhoe, but you're on tracks and they have the rubber pads in between the cleats, so we can put this thing on seal coats and places we don't want to tear up so much. And anyway, and it uses all the same attachments, same buckets and all that. So we're demoing that to see what we think. And it has the controls are kind of, you know, everything anymore has got a screen in there, a touch screen, and you can select excavator controls or you can select backhoe controls with the push of a button. And why would we care? Because we can stick our backhoe operator in there and nothing's going to be backwards to him. Or we can stick the excavator operator in there and he can have the controls he wants. So that's something we're just demoing. And that is into next year's budget.
Yeah, and that's what I forgot to ask you on this other
But
stuff.
the,
So how much these are in the budget or gonna be in next year's
Yeah,
budget?
the Widener is not, but because of the delays of delivery, we're way underperforming our equipment. So that's another one we're looking at that we may come back next week and then ask you to consider that. But the tractor trailer, the trailer we talked about, well, we're looking at replacing one of the trucks with a tractor trailer. Every county that I've served has tractor trailers, other than this one. Lots of our neighbors have tractor trailers. You're hauling about twice the load with still only one labor hour involved. Here, when I came here, we've had, you know, the quarry has a fleet of vehicles, and if you're strictly hauling their material, they can do it, although sometimes timing is a conflict. But this is something we'd like to look into. And so to continue on that, we had a quote on a new Mack tractor, and straight up it's $109,200. We also had a quote on a Western Star, which I don't have in my hands, but it was $3,000 or $4,000 more than that. I also asked Mike Seawright to look at used tractors, which he has done. I have the emails on my phone on that. But in discussion with Mike and his experience with large fleets and that, he really felt that if we were going to have a long-term commitment to this, that we would be better off with a new tractor as opposed to used. The tractor that we have, which will remain to pull the lowboy, that we did get used. But that's something we'd like to consider doing too.
Well, you're talking about considering a tractor and a trailer,
Yes.
and
The trailer, I didn't have the second number today.
yeah,
That's the belly dump that you're talking about?
Yes.
oh, that's a different story, yeah, okay.
And you'll see,
And this would be used for hauling more, this operation.
yes,
Rather than equipment.
That's-
Not- The other one you'll keep for.
this is
moving
material
equipment.
hauling.
This is be,
Yeah.
avoid trips with the tandems.
I'm just surprised that all the years that we've been here, you haven't asked for something sooner.
Well, I
Makes sense.
We're not any more flush with cash now than we've ever been,
Yeah,
so I'm curious.
kind of, gave you the long story. I think that we, when I came here, we were hauling strictly from one source, and they were hauling it. We have in recent years hauled more from multiple sources, from at least 4 sources. And all of those sources, except for the one, for Wendlings, don't have the ability to haul for us. So we either haul in our vehicles or we contract. The last several years we've had Thompson with tractor trailers hauling for us. I don't, one truck does not discontinue that, the need for that at all, but I think we could, I think we can be more efficient.
Has Mike tried to address or get an idea of maintenance costs and so forth on adding another, truck and trailer to the fleet? Is that, because I mean, a lot of times over the years, you've went ahead and opted for, as you've done with contracting out, it's made sense. So I'm just trying to get a handle on whether this seems to make sense.
Well, I was gonna say, I think that it makes sense, and we will probably reduce the miles on our, marginally, but on our tandem trucks too, that, it's usually not my way to come and, if I don't have to, and say, well, we're gonna do 3 of these or 4 of these or something like
Right.
that. The counties I've served always had 3. But I think delving into one, we can see if it is a good answer for us before we would consider any more in the fleet.
How many times will that belly dump haul?
Probably about 23.
So it's about like 3 tandems.
No, it's about 2.
2? So that ought to help you with your mileage and.
When we're loaded legal, we're in the neighborhood of 11 tons on our tandems.
And use the same tandems to plow with, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
What's the lifetime on that tractor if it's new?
Million miles?
The miles that we would only put on it a long, long time. 500,000 miles on one of those is nothing, so to speak. Although we're going to be a little more harsh conditions than over the road, but same way the Mac or the Western Star are a little tougher construction type of vehicle. I mean, if you look at some of the contract, look at what Kroll had, look at what Hahn has, they have Macs. That's kind of one of their big niches is the construction industry.
So you mentioned the other counties had 3, and do you see this as kind of a transition to that, or?
I see it, I see it as a potential transition. Lots of times, they may not have the contract hauling available that we have. But when times are good, contract hauling's harder to get. But yeah, I could see that potential. Now, it requires a Class A CDL. We have half dozen people that have that license. You know, you might see, trying to think the one county across the bridge and,
Ask about that trailer.
or the one
I don't
township,
think they do
the one
work
township
over
over there, but you see their trucks running through town with the pups, trucks and pups. That's a Class A CDL too, just so you know, to pull a pup. So,
Well, maybe Mike could give us some projections, numbers,
sure.
so we get an idea on
Keith,
potential cost
in this-
savings or need.
And this is to pull that belly dump trailer that you're looking at,
Yes.
right? So I wanna go back to that just for a brief minute, if you would. So my understanding is you've got 2 bids. One looks pretty good to you, the other is not really the
Clear
same
out of it.
equipment.
Yeah,
And then you've solicited another bid,
yes.
and you asked for it by this morning, and we don't have it.
Yes.
So is there a reason why we would wait for them? I mean, we don't do that with any other bid. They're given a deadline, they bid.
The board is the reason. I don't have a reason. I fully expect that bid to be higher. I know what another county paid. I know what another county paid for that trailer.
Well, I come from the school that if you gave them a bid date and a due date for that bid and they didn't honor it, why should they have the opportunity to come back in? As far as I'm concerned, they should have had that to you this morning if they wanted to sell a trailer.
I agree.
And if we have a bid that you feel is reasonable, then I would want us to consider it and move on with
Okay,
life.
well,
So what was the price on that belly dump that you have?
this one is $39,900, and Mike has been back and forth with them a couple times to get this exactly where we want it.
So it'd be about 140, 145
Yeah.
for this.
Set up.
Well, and there's a
We're
possibility.
not,
That's only about 20 grand more than a tandem, right?
well,
Tandems are about 128.
equipped, yeah, or more,
Yeah, or more. Yeah,
or
so it's-
more. It's no more.
Did I understand that maybe it would be conceivably possible you could utilize the one tractor on both the trailers?
You could.
So we wouldn't have to put out money for another tractor?
It is the in the counties I've served in the past, typically the older tractor drew the duty of pulling the lowboy, and so it wasn't running all the time and could be higher miles and a little tireder, for lack of a better word. I mean, ours is in, frankly, even though it's been a long time, it's in pretty good shape, low miles, and we would in fact like to, would like to try pulling a trailer, and if we had to, pull it with that. But the trouble is, if it's on that duty, it can't be moving excavators or motor graders around on a lowboy.
No, I
Especially if
understand
you're
that,
gonna
but
add
you,
another excavator.
but he also talked like the usage isn't the big time usage, that's why the miles are low. Maybe that could be scheduled work, I don't know.
But it's gonna double if we add that excavator, that 308 in place
Yeah.
of the wheel loader, its jobs are gonna.
I would see us if the trailer, if we go where we think we will go and want to go, then I would see us wanting to add another trailer down the road.
Are you thinking maybe the state's gonna give us much more roads that like they've done in the past that we don't already have? I mean, otherwise we're doing the same work, we're just adding more equipment to do it. You gotta maintain it.
Well, I think you're gonna be more efficient with the belly dump than hauling all that rock with a tandem. I think you're gonna find that would be a good decision.
The
And
difference-
and you haul enough rock that it's gonna be out all the time.
Well, that's why I asked for, maybe Mike could share some numbers of his
The
anticipated.
difference in the cost was 20-some thousand bucks, right? And if that, and that'll dissipate quickly in labor costs
Yeah.
of,
Cuts an operator.
exactly, that's my point, exactly. And I know the problem that happens when you've got one tractor and you got two places that you need to be,
Right.
moving a machine and needing to haul some material, and, well, we can always take and get on the phone and call XYZ company to haul it. Well, we'll get to you in 3 days or 5 days because we've got this job that we're doing here and we don't have trucks available.
Typically, when they're hauling material, they can be sitting at the source in the morning when they open and haul all day. Depending on where they're at in their cycle, maybe they bring a load back and head out with the load in the morning, those types of
Show me
things.
some numbers.
And do you
Show me
have,
some numbers. It's a want or a need.
I know these are
Show me some numbers.
Class A,
been going a long time
CDL
without it.
machines. Do you have enough people
There's 6 that have a Class A.
that are capable? 'Cause I know you can have it.
Yeah. We feel there are several that are capable. But you're exactly right. But, some of these people have driven over the road, and we have confidence in them. And some of them have driven, tractor trailer for us for a long time. Granted, it's just the low boy, but.
Well, those have their own challenges too.
Mm-hmm.
Are we looking to replace any of the tandems, discontinue their use, or just be an addition to?
In my mind, we can quite possibly go down one tandem. Because I think that's where we stand right now in terms of our numbers. That only changes if we gain even more roads, which I don't know the answer to. And we did gain a lot of miles of pavement from the state that we didn't add trucks or operators to cover. So
So how many spares for snow fighting do we have as far as tandems go?
one,
So if we went down a tandem, then we wouldn't have a spare?
right, we've been without, but if we go down one, yes.
Well, I don't know, we've done,
I'm going to, let me rephrase that. I'm not necessarily saying one goes away, but I think the next, cycle, we probably pause one during the cycle.
Yeah, I would think if you reduce the miles of the work on the tandems for hauling gravel or whatever in the summer, you're probably gonna extend your life of them slightly, would be my
Yes.
guess.
all I was gonna say is we've historically done a very good job with the snow fighting,
Right.
and I would hate to see a breakdown and not have a backup.
Yeah, I think that I think the belly dump trailer and the truck makes sense. And I think when you add that, if you add that other track loader versus the backhoe, you're probably gonna need the low boy out more, which is, at least you got a backup. You have 2 trucks that could pull it if you had to. You only have 1 trailer, so that probably doesn't help you. But, yeah, I see that as, I see it as a pretty good move,
Well,
probably.
the other thing is we've given him some more money to put in more culverts, to do more projects.
Right.
And, I think having this bigger machine, the 308 versus the tractor backhoe makes sense. But, I feel like that one truck needs to be dedicated to hauling those 2 machines, and if we're
Right.
to a belly dump, then you're not.
Right.
I think I need to see a plan.
I can
we're
see
sitting
it.
here, none of us know anything about it.
That's not true.
He's well, I was gonna come to you. You've been away there for a while though, and this is a whole new plan. And we're talking about, we went historically, you like to use that word, for years with what we got, with the same roads we got. So let's justify what we're doing. Let's just get a plan. I know we can get it. I know Mike can give it to him, and we can have it presented to us. You know, we didn't, like I said earlier, we haven't become flush with cash. Let's just, let's hear what the plan is. I don't see where there's a problem with that. Somebody just walks in and says, I want to buy it, this is what I want.
Well,
I don't see where there's a problem with that either, but don't say that nobody sitting here knows what's going on.
Well, that wasn't meant toward you. If anything, I would have said the reverse. I should have said the reverse and looked to you for advice, but you've been filling us in as we go, so.
Keep in touch and with things that are going on out
Yeah,
there.
well, let's not change our wants and needs program,
I mean, I
okay?
think it looks like it makes sense, but I'd agree, you know, some kind of projection, or, you know, if we take another week, is it gonna cost us any more than a week in getting these items?
I don't have a concern with that, if Mike could come back, or Keith maybe with a clarification of it. But one of the things I don't wanna do is reward a vendor for late bid.
Well, that's fine.
Cause that's a point that I'd like to make. When we ask for a bid, we want it, that's what we do with all of our other work. A bid deadline is a bid deadline,
Yeah,
period.
he's sitting here, could be watching this, and
Right,
this is where these people are at. That'd pretty be slide right underneath it.
right, and that's not the way it's supposed to
I
work.
mean, we definitely want, it looks on the face of it like it's, obviously would lead to a more efficient set of operations, but I agree, I don't think there's any harm in getting a little clearer picture of, what we'd be spending on and how much. we'd save.
We'll put something together, but I do want to comment that we spend 6, 7, 800,000 every year on equipment, every year, like clockwork, and we present to you the items that we think most efficiently help our operation. And I don't consider them wants versus needs. I think the time is now to do this, and if anything, I should be chastised that it's not been done sooner. So that's my input, but we'll bring you back whatever you
Well, I
think
for
you
one-
need.
I for one trust in your confidence, I just want to be able to have my own knowledge of that confidence as well, of your reasons for it.
This is an off the wall question, Keith, sorry, but, what do you peg like a cost of a load, like in a tandem? Average cost, what do you say is $400 to haul?
We usually figure it's costing us $15 a ton to
15 a
haul.
ton?
Depending on the distance,
Yeah,
so a couple hundred.
fair, yeah. Okay,
That's not equipment cost though.
right, that's just labor.
It's labor and
fuel.
material, fuel.
Yeah, I got it.
So yeah, you put that in there and you're probably very close to double that at 400.
Yeah, if you could bring something back showing the pluses and minuses of apples and oranges, and so on and so forth, I think it'd be helpful. I agree with Jeff 100% on the bid situation. There's absolutely no reason to reward anyone for bad behavior. And,
I mean, I appreciate that because we're running into that a lot now with business, and they promise you this. I'm normally trying to make Nancy's end of the day Wednesday deadlines, and she's lucky if she gets it middle of the day Friday, and that's typically just because we're waiting on something from people, and then it doesn't even come, which is the case this time. Otherwise, we'd give you a spreadsheet with numbers on it.
well, when individuals or companies learn quickly that you don't wait,
Yeah,
they're not late.
so it's only somewhat critical to us because we're hitting year end here too.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all.
Sure.
Okay.
Sir.
Yep.
Board all good with that thought process then? Okay.
You bet.
Are we at project updates now then, Keith?
We are.
Excellent.
Not a lot to say there, other than that every week we're closing out some of those final ones. The only thing that's really new is the one that we took action on under B to get a letting set on the far end of the G28 project to get subdrains in there. I said, if you recall, we added that on when we decided to pause a year because it was down the road. So that goes to letting, and hopefully we'll get a bridge to letting, another bridge to letting here soon. That's it on projects.
Very good.
Okay. Is that everything? Anything else?
Other, still working with Nancy on looking for the two missing positions that we have. So that'll come along, but again, the labor market's employment's pretty good if you want a job, so it may take some effort in finding those folks.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Keith.
Thanks.
Thanks, Keith.
Next is discussion and possible action to approve an ordinance rezoning approximately 42 acres in Sweetland Township from A1 Ag District to R1 Residential District on the second of 3 readings.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Matt, second by Jeff. This is a roll call vote. Any discussion on this? Any more discussion?
Once
No.
again, I'll recuse myself.
Okay.
I've had no feedback from
I've had
anyone,
none.
so looks fine to me.
Okay. This is a roll call vote. Matt?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Nathan?
Present.
And I vote aye. Motion passes 4-0. Next is action to approve renewal of the following Iowa retail cigarette, tobacco, nicotine vapor permits. A is Casey's Marketing Company, DBA Casey's General Store, number 2472 at 1334 Highway 22, Nichols, Iowa, 52766.
Move to approve.
Motion by Jeff, second by Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. B is Rife Oil Company, DBA Stewart Road Fast Break, 2418 Stewart Road, Muscatine, Iowa, 52761. Motion by Nathan, second by Matt. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number 7, discussion and possible action to approve the minutes of the June 4, 2018 regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Matt, second by Nathan. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Correspondence. Matt, you have any correspondence?
I had nothing.
Jeff?
Nothing to note.
I had one call in regard to an individual on a new home build situation that was a little upset on some of the permit procedures, and I think he was just a little bit confused. This gentleman has moved here from out of state, and I think the confusion and mix-up is that he thought that things should be the same from state to state and so on and so forth, and Eric's had conversations with him, and I've had conversations with Eric on this, and I think it's just a matter of an education process and getting the individual to understand that things are a little different here than where he comes from, and I'm sure that's true vice versa. So that's all I had in correspondence. Nathan?
I had none.
Bob?
Well, I had 2. One was that letter that I passed out to you this morning that I received regarding potential future board member and how we may conduct business, and you've read the letter. So the other thing I had was I had a couple of county residents contact me regarding concern for Deep Lakes Park the rules and regs down there and structure of fines and so forth. So I'll take that up next Monday, not tonight, but the next Monday. I'll take that forward with the Conservation Board and let them know what I've been given and what their interest might be in reviewing that and so forth. Other than that, that's all I had.
Do you mean that this individual felt that it was too strict or too high?
That it might be, there might be difficulty in, with some of the regulations based on the amount of water, the bodies of water, and so much, and how they deal with that, and the cabins going in and so forth. There's some other personal things, which I'll take up with the board, and then I can let you know more after. I feel that's theirs, let them handle that, so.
Okay. How about any committee reports, Bob?
I had nothing last week.
Nathan?
I had the 7th Judicial Correctional Board meeting on Friday, the 8th. We conducted the performance evaluation for the director, Waylon McCullough. We think he's doing a great job. Pleased with his ability to both be fiscally responsible and to navigate the political currents in a difficult time in terms of budgets. I had some comments on the name of the acronym is eluding me right now. We call it the PSA. It's the pre-sentencing sentencing guidelines for basically granting release upon bail. One of the nice things is it's a pilot program that we've been involved in this district to give judges some kind of a rubric or a mechanism so that bail determinations aren't arbitrary. There's kind of a spreadsheet you look at, you compare all these various things, how many prior offenses, whether the guy skipped town before, that sort of thing, and you generate what a likely level of good supervision is. The only problem so far is that it has basically taken the number of supervisor releases, and we just had data from Scott County, from about 10 to 12 a month to somewhere near 200. So we got a whole lot more work, and no extra folks to do it. So that threatens morale quite a bit. We're looking to deal with that. We don't honestly know whether the program is going to be extended. We can pretty much guarantee there's not going to be money for it, since that seems to be a truism of life. But it's one of the things we're dealing with. You may have heard, it was about a week or two ago, I think a guy who had been in and out up in Lynn County, attempted a robbery of a garage, came across a woman he didn't expect to be there and killed her. Then he burned down the garage to try and hide the crime, and one wonders if his release had been denied or set under more stricter conditions, whether that woman might not be alive. So there's certainly a lot of merit to this. As usual, we're struggling through it, trying to figure out how to make it work as best we can, but that's what's going on in the correctional district right now.
Okay. Thank you. I had, as far as committee reports, Riverbend Transit Finance meeting and discussed the budget that will go to the board for approval in a week or two. So, anything, Jeff, on your end?
Nothing.
Matt? Nothing? Okay. Next is receive information from county employees. Any other employees need to speak? Okay. Items with the administration office. A is discussion and possible action to eliminate one full-time custodial position and authorize 2 part-time custodial positions. Good morning.
We have an opening, and after much discussion, we ran an ad, got a few applications that, not considering. And when I met with staff, it was discussed it would be give them much more flexibility to staff hours with 2 part-time staff people instead of a full-time staff person. Nancy's calculated with hours, I think it's less money to do it that way, but, what we run into through temp, since we've had our opening, is we've gotten some good quality part-time people that only wanna work part-time. We still want a full-time position. So we'd like to at least
Is the potential employees that you're speaking of, is it a situation where they're possibly looking at a second job, or are these people just don't have enough time in their life to work an 8-hour job?
We have someone right now that is a retired person who doesn't want to work,
Okay.
fairly young retired person who loves this. It's worked out really well for us. And the expectation is that we'll go through the temp agency until, to place the part-time people. But that's been the discussion with them too, that, there are some people out there who are, we have some fairly young retirees that still want to do something, but they don't want to affect their retirement by working a full-time job. So, and we have issues with scheduling too, scheduling vacations and hours for special things that are going on. So this gives us some flexibility there. And if we try it and that we can't make that work, then I may come back and say, can we change it back? But for now, it looks like, and this is something we've been talking about since before the position was open, because we knew that position was likely going to be open, and that, maybe that's the best way for us to go.
Out of curiosity, what's our starting wage for custodian?
It is $10.87. As of July 1st, our starting wage for custodian is $10.87.
Which
It
that's,
doesn't, full-time, part-time, it doesn't, we don't. just
which
change
that's
it.
part of the problem, too.
Okay. Does it help in regard to the need of the work being performed? Is it beneficial if everything is to be done in morning or afternoon, or does that play a role?
I don't think so.
No?
No, I don't think so. I think to cover time off and situations in buildings, the staff is pretty flexible now as far as moving around between buildings, and, this just allows us to do that a little more. And possibly we're having some discussion about maybe having someone on, still working until 3:30, because right now everybody leaves at 3:30. So if we have a spill or something before everybody leaves at 4:30, we'll call maintenance to come take care of that. So this would allow us to maybe staff a little bit different, if this is approved, we're gonna take a look at what those hours look like for staff.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have an issue with it. It gives you the access to another pool or give them a try.
I'm totally in favor of eliminating that position.
I'd entertain a motion then.
So you gotta move, I'll second.
Got a motion by Bob, a second by Jeff. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Very good. Nancy, anything else?
I just want to confirm that we're gonna have 3 people here for the canvas at 8 in the morning.
I will be here.
I will be here.
I will.
It's at
Okay,
8.
yeah,
I'm absolutely not
All
gonna.
right,
Yeah,
Bob's
no
worried,
problem.
we absolutely have 3, you can go to Fairfield, okay?
You can go levitate?
No, but I just couldn't be in 2 spots at once, even with levitation, so I gotta go. I'm learning a new skill set. Come on, you guys.
Okay, nothing further then on your regard, Nancy. At that point, then we will, I'm sorry?
Yeah, did,
Numbers for
I
us?
have them all checked except one here, which I'll be done in about 1 minute.
1 minute.
we can probably talk slow and.
Well, I'm kinda interested in this levitating class you're
Yeah,
taking.
maybe Bob could talk to us about levitation.
People say I get a little excited down here sometimes. This way I can just elevate my game.
I can report to you that the new Muscatine manager started this last week, and so far has hit the ground running and seems to be doing a great job.
Very good.
Glad to hear that.
How about the transition of, our E911 director to this building?
His stuff is all moved over here, we haven't seen him.
Okay.
How long's it been moved?
It got moved
Friday.
last Tuesday.
We're going on a week. But I didn't see him.
The Emergency Management Commission is meeting this evening.
Yeah, we'll meet tonight, so hopefully we'll have,
I think there'll be some discussion about that issue.
yeah.
That would be good.
Yeah, just to remind anybody out there on the Emergency Management Commission, we do have a meeting tonight at 6 o'clock in the boardroom. We certainly need and require your attention to come to that meeting. We need to have a quorum. It's always a big issue, so surprise us and come. We'd enjoy it. And that includes Hog Hunter. Come on, everybody come. We'll get them all. Yeah, home film there.
All right,
I'm ready.
perfect. What do you got?
Did you all show Iowa Ridge is low?
Correct.
Sure, seen that. We've got experience with those guys.
Yes.
Yes, they built the last one they built. Their numbers are correct, 255, 685. So I would recommend accepting the as read bid of Iowa Bridge and Culvert.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion, who made the motion?
Bob.
Bob did? Okay, motion by Bob, second by Matt. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thanks, Keith.
Thank you.
Yep.
And with that, we will have a short recess. It's 10:01. We'll reconvene at 10:10. Thank you very much.
Boy, Keith, with that particular acceptance.